Hey board gamers, BJ from Game Gumbo here, back with an unboxing and an overview of the gameplay of Caretos from Mebo Games. It was one of our big Essen anticipated games. Let's take a look at what's inside. Thanks to the fine people at Mebo, we're going to get to take a look at it. It plays from 2 to 4 players in about 45 minutes. It's designed by Paulo Pereira with art from Mateo Plana. And let's open up the box and see. All right, so we've got the rule book. This is the English rule book, and we've also got a German rule book. Rule book, oh, I like the illustrations. Nice illustration with all the different locations. This is what every game should have, a list of all the components with pictures, not just a description. Show us exactly what we're talking about so we can look to see. This will tell us how to set up the game. Another look at a beautiful map. There's lots of pictures here, lots of examples as to what to do, how to play your turn, all the different actions. Questions in the back if you have any issues. And of course, a nice explanation of the in-game scoring. Some bonus card information. A little bit about the monster cards. Nice handy-dandy reference for all those cards. I like what I see so far. A little bit about who's who. Looks like the English rules there by Michael Schmale. All right, so there's the rule books. Oh, let's take a look at the big game board. I had to kind of open wide, or I had to move my camera back because this is a huge game board. Wow, look at this. Look at this thing. And it's two-sided too. So if I remember from the video, so we've got it upside down here. If I remember from the video, this is going to be one side for one certain amount of players, and then another side for another certain amount of players. We'll have to dive into the rulebook to see which one is which. Up next, we've got some handy-dandy player sheets here, little player guides. Love when manufacturers, publishers include these. Kind of goes through the turn, all the different actions. Well done, and there's enough for all 4 players. Here's where some of the unique elements of the game are going to come into play. Caretos is all about a Portuguese legend up in the extreme north, way up near the mountains. The villagers, they told stories about these supernatural, scary creatures that you can find in between the villages and out in the woods and the mountains, called the Caretos. These are the villages that we'll be putting out on the board, and these are the campfire tokens that we'll put also out on the board anytime that there are 2 more villagers. Your goal, of course, is to capture. Think Monsters Inc., but from a Portuguese side. Capturing these villagers is going to be important. And of course, if you can capture them near their campfire and get rid of that campfire, you're going to be able to take special actions and get special bonuses. All right, so let's see what's inside. Oh, there's 30 or so, a bunch of different villages here. And you've got big, thick, chunky wooden pieces. Well, it looks like, wow, this is a nice touch. Each one of the villagers, instead of being some kind of standard shape, each of the different colored villagers all have a different shape. That's a nice touch. You don't always see that. So they're not quite uniform. It's going to look a little different as you put them together on the map. And then look at this. And then you got the campfire tokens. Again, nice wooden screen printed tokens. Nice little picture of the campfire there. Well, that's a nice touch. You'll put these out anytime you find 2 or more villagers there. This is well done and well made. Very impressive. Now we're getting to the heart of the game, what makes Caretos so special. Each player is going to have these monster cards. They're going to get 2 random monster cards, and that's what they're going to use to move around the table. And look at this artwork. Oh, I just love this. Each one of them are going to do something a little bit different. There's an English side and also a Portuguese side. There's the werewolf. Is that the French side? No, that's German. So the werewolf with his special actions. Oh, the boogeyman. Look at this creature. Oh, I'm really liking what I'm seeing here. The Enchanted Moira. And again, special actions on each one of them. But what's even cooler, look at this. This is a trend that we're seeing with some of the board games. They're not only using wooden pieces, but they're also using these beautiful acrylic pieces for standees. And these are going to represent all the different monsters in the game. There's that werewolf we were looking at earlier. Isn't that gorgeous? So these will be each player is going to get 2 random ones, and they'll use these standees along with these little things. They'll actually put that in there, and they'll put those standees on the table, and that's what they'll move around to try to capture the villagers. Now, in addition to the regular monsters that we see here, there are also, let's get to the bottom. Oh, there's the enchantress that we looked at earlier. They also have the Caretos, which you saw on the front cover. These are not owned by anybody in particular. They're going to be on the board, but anyone can use those to move around and capture villages. All right, but we're not done yet, because we've got to talk about the heart of the game, and that's taking the actions. Each player is going to have 3 of these cards in their hands. And as you can see, each of these cards have different symbols on them. On your turn, you're going to play one of those cards down and then take that action. You have to choose one of these night cards, and that's what these are called, night cards. Because the monsters, the Caretos and the other monsters, move around at night. For instance, let's look at Maria right here, Maria Gancha. You can see that playing one of these cards down on the table is going to give you that action, that symbol, and that'll allow you on your turn to take one of these actions related to that monster. For instance, if you're playing a red card, you can move up to 6 times and even skip between the wells that are out on the board. If you're playing the yellow, the lightning bolt, it's going to do something different. This one says if you can move 7, and if you score villagers, you can even make an additional move. But of course, you can only do that once per turn. It looks like not every card in the deck is going to have those symbols. Most of them have it, but some of these don't have the rune symbols. And that's important because, this might be a really strong action, but you might want to use both of your monsters. So if you've played this one on a previous turn, and there's that rune symbol, and then you have this one in your hand, and you play it down, you're not only going to take that action, but you can also use both of your monsters. So that's going to be important during the game, trying to match up those rune symbols so that you can get both of your monsters to move around on the board and capture villages. It wouldn't seem like there's a lot of player interactivity here, but that's where this cauldron card comes into play. So I told you about those 2 Caretos that are on the board. Anybody can use those, and if the Caretos ever enter a location that's occupied by your monster, then your monster goes right to this cauldron, which is placed off the board, and then you have to try to get the monster back onto your, back into play. Number 1, the cauldron, the Caretos cauldron, can only hold 1 monster at a time. You can also spend some of those campfire tokens I told you about. Instead of using them as a bonus action, you can use them to return your monster to play. Or the third way, if the rune on your just played night card matches the rune on the card immediately before it, you can remove your monster from the cauldron and return it right to play. So matching up those rune cards, trying to get those rune symbols to match up, that's another bonus that you can get by playing that. There's 2 rune symbols that match up, and if I had a monster on the Caretos cauldron, I could remove it from the cauldron and put it back into play. Those campfire tokens have so many different other uses. Besides getting besides getting an additional move by spinning a campfire token with the monster that you just activated, or using them to get one of your monsters back out of the cauldron, or even just trying to use them to activate your other monster if you don't have those rune cards that can match up. You also have these bonus cards. Now, these are the end bonus cards, and everybody's going to get 1 of them, I believe. But you also have these cards, and basically what these cards are, there's ways to get scoring depending on what you do during the game. There's going to be kind of a market for these, and if you want to, you can spend a campfire token to buy a bonus card. You'll choose one of the face-up bonus cards that are there in the market, and you'll place it in front of you. And of course, at the end of the game end is triggered as soon as the last villager is captured or the last night card is drawn. Then in that case, in the latter case, everybody's going to take 1 more turn, and the game will end. It'll end with the person who drew that last card from the deck. Then you'll score all your victory points, including the villagers that your monsters have captured. They're all worth a point. You'll get any points that you have that match up to the cards that you have from your bonus cards. Any of the VP from the final bonus cards that each player started out with. And then the player with the most victory points is going to win the game. Hey, so that's our inside look at Caretos from Mebo Games. It's a family-friendly game and we can't wait to dive in, so expect a review pretty soon. Until next time, laissez le bon temps rouler.